Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast. I am your host, Cody Kelly. Look, connect with me everywhere. You connect with me at the link below. Hit me up on IG at CVMK33, YouTube at CV Space K. I'm super excited. You know, LeBron James just won his fourth ring. I had to come to you with a special presentation of the GOAT Talk. And before we get into this presentation of my guests, who I'm so happy to have here, still waiting for a couple others to join, I have made a special presentation that solidifies the GOAT argument. I'm going to share it, and then we're going to discuss it. So here we go. It is going to be amazing. You didn't think you were going to get a presentation today, but it's all part of it. Make sure this is sharing from the beginning. All right, guys, this is why LeBron James is the GOAT. He's more than the king. He is the greatest of all time. He's the best basketball player ever. Hands down, it is without a shadow of a doubt that we are witnessing history in the making, even greater than, thus I say, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. This is why 1.3 thousand games played, 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 Olympic bronze medal, 4-time NBA champion, 4 MVPs, 4 finals MVPs, 49,000. You heard it correctly. 49,000 minutes played. I don't know why it says played it, but it should be played. 9.4 rebounds per game, 9.3 assists per game, 2 steals per game, 1 block per game. He is shooting 50%. His career average is 50% from the field, 34% from the three-point line. Amazing. Even better, I prepared a little special video for you guys that just highlights how great this dude is.
That's my favorite LeBron dunk of all time right there.
Yeah. Look at that athleticism. Look at the clutchness. Look at it. Look how easy it is on John Wall. Look at the tenacity. Oh, look at the vertical. Look at the defense. You can't score on them. Look at the crossover to handle the assist. Can Michael do that? No. All right, that's enough of that. Look, I'm so excited. I had to show you this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. So I have with me amazing guests. One a hater, one not a hater. But I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves, starting with my man, Rising Stephen A. Smith. Tony Gill, introduce yourself.
What's up, everybody? It's Tony Gill. It's here representing NBC Sports Chicago. Thanks a lot for having me on, Cody, or having me back. I was on before discussing just, I think we were discussing black influences in sports and stuff like that with the panel. So I'm glad I got the invite back. So thanks.
Oh, anytime. And my other esteemed guest, he is the pastor of Bread of Life, yet he is truly, when it comes to sports, just does not see the true understanding of analytics and value and has certain beliefs, but all are welcome here. So we invited Naaman Williams. Naaman, if you can introduce yourself.
I'm a great basketball player who happens to be a pastor, and I'm here to make sure I set the record straight. That's it. That's all.
I'm excited. Look. So LeBron has won his 4th ring, right? 4 in 17 years, which is amazing. I don't even know how you put it in words. You know, people think that he was going to decline, he was going to drop off, but obviously he hasn't done that, right? So I want to start with you, Tony. What were your thoughts on LeBron winning his 4th ring?
I wasn't shocked, at all. I think you made a good point that because it's so unprecedented that a 35-year-old, player can lead a team in the ways that he has to an NBA championship. But still, it wasn't surprising at all. Even though, throughout the years, especially, maybe the last 5 or 6 years, people have been wanting to crown somebody else or look for somebody else to go to as the best player in the world right now. And they all fall short. We tried giving it to Steph. I tried giving it to Steph, and that didn't work. They tried to give it to Kawhi Leonard. That didn't work. I mean, they've tried so many other players during his run as the best player in the world, and they've all fallen short. And yeah, LeBron has had his downfalls and his shortcomings in the playoffs and stuff like that, but he simply cannot be denied. And if people are still, wanting to, not like what he's done, they're really doing themselves a disservice from enjoying something that once he retires, it's gone. That's it. Like, we've been so fortunate to kind of have Jordan and kind of LeBron basically almost the final years of Michael Jordan in Washington. LeBron is about to come on the scene in 2003. We were really fortunate, but if you look at, there's a lot of great players in the NBA right now. There's a lot of great young talent, but there is nothing like that coming after LeBron. And people are going to miss it once it's done. To see that type of dominance, to see that type of talent just kind of ravage and take over the league for as long as he has, people are going to be like, man, I kind of miss LeBron and what he was doing. We all need that point person. Michael Jordan was the point person for many years. Then LeBron was the point guy. Who's going to be that guy? I just don't see it. One person to dominate the league like that, at least not yet. So that's kind of all the thoughts that I had once LeBron won the championship.
No, same here. There's nobody to me that is his successor. I think Steph has a good shot, but to carry the full weight of the league, I don't just see it, right? I got to address this comment. Michael Simpson goes on to say, call me when LeBron puts up 54 points in regulation as the member of a number 8 seed against a number 1 seed and had 5 future Hall of Famers. Okay, so obviously he's talking about the Boston Celtics series. LeBron has been an 8th seed before. He has been a 5th seed before. Remind you who he beat in 2007 to go to the NBA Finals the first time. Let's talk about it. Boston has their Hall of Famers can't compare to Golden State Hall of Famers outside of Larry Bird. Everybody else, yeah, Kevin McHale, great. Is he a Klay Thompson? No. Steph Curry, definitely not. Kevin Durant, not even close. And LeBron almost took them down. He took them down without KD. They had to add KD, which is like adding steroids to Barry Bonds. And that's how they beat him. It took 4 real Hall of Famers to take down one king. Naaman, I'm on to you. What was your thoughts about King James as he conquered the 4th dimension?
You just disrespected the Boston Celtics, man.
I disrespect everything that's not LeBron.
Seriously? So Klay Thompson's career is better than Kevin McHale's right now at this present moment?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know it. So you must be 5 years old. So let me go ahead. LeBron has earned my respect. I'm a Lakers fan, so I had an opportunity to look at him from a different angle. So he has definitely earned my respect. And I wanted him to win the championship, but I did know what was coming behind it of who is the greatest player of all time. So I respect, the LeBron fans because there are many of you guys, and I respect him highly, but I still don't consider him being the GOAT.
That's sad. That's sad. Well, let's take it here. What will it take, Naaman, for you to place him in that conversation? For me, I love LeBron, but if you still want to give to Michael, I'm only okay with it for one more ring. After he gets to 5, I don't even want to hear Mike's name, right? I don't want to see the last dance after he gets to 5. He doesn't have to get to 6. He just has to get to 5.
Why doesn't he have to get to 6?
Because LeBron's championships are harder won. They're more difficult than Michael Jordan's championships. I'll be the first one to say Michael didn't beat anybody but Magic. That's the only Hall of Famer he beat in the finals. Everybody else was Charles Barkley. Maybe Charles. Charles is kind of like hodgepodge between Draymond Green and Zion Williams, but his team was trash, right? Outside of Magic's Lakers, Mike didn't beat anybody. I will go on record and say that LeBron has taken down the dynastic Spurs. LeBron has taken down the dynastic Warriors. LeBron has taken down the dynastic Pistons. Okay, Mike did it too, but Mike had help. LeBron beat the Pistons with the guy named Booby. I don't even know where Daniel Gibson is right now. That's how fantastic LeBron James is. Name it. What will it take for you to supplant MJ?
Okay, listen here, Max. This is one of the problems that you have. You always want to change the narrative of something. And for the record, the LA Lakers were the worst team that Jordan beat because of injuries. Okay, so go ahead and check your facts on that. Okay, so and you said something that is ridiculous. It was the number one argument against LeBron. You said he didn't have any help when the man went to go and get help. How dare you say he didn't have no help?
I'm talking about the 2007. I'm not talking about the Miami years. He had help in Miami.
We talking about the GOAT conversation. So apparently we talking about careers. Correct?
We're talking and a whole range. We're talking about careers. Welcome to the show. Also, I have another Kobe hater. He's in the hoodie. Roger Christopher Walls.
Kobe lover.
Kobe lover, right? LeBron hater. My bad. I was hoping that you were converted and God had worked on you. But I just got done asking, naming, what will it take, Roger? What will it take to supplant MJ as the official GOAT?
At this point, there's nothing you can do.
How? Why not?
That ship sailed.
When?
6-0. As soon as he lost that first chip.
Against
No, as soon as LeBron lost his first chip, that ship sailed, in my opinion. But that goes for against anybody. So if this conversation was about Kobe, I would say the same thing, just to be fair. I think what Mike did in the amount of time that he did it at is uncomparable. I really do. And that's my opinion. Everything, championship stats, everything.
You're talking about just the 13 years of the Bulls?
Yeah.
Let's break down the 13 years. Tony, I'm going to shift this to you. Let's analyze Mike's 13 years, okay? 80s, he was getting his tail whooped. And until Scott Maurice Pippen from Central Arkansas joined the team, Mike couldn't get out the first round. LeBron got out the first round with nobody averaging over 20. LeBron got out the first round with Z and Larry Hughes and Eric Snow, Donnell Marshall, people who, second, third team sub players on 2K. You know what I'm saying? Like, LeBron got out the first round with a cast that is hard to name it's hard to name them all. Jordan had a bona fide raw piece in Scott Maurice Pippen. Let's shift to the 90s. I give you, MJ and the Bulls dominated. But there was a young Memphian named Anthony Penny Hardaway. Him and Shaquille dethroned the Bulls for a year. Totally knocked them off. I don't want to hear it.
Cody. But that's Mike coming back in the middle of the season, though.
He was still playing baseball. He's still in athletic shape.
Shape. That's a different baseball shape and basketball shape are completely different. Your muscle memory is different. That's a no.
What happened the next year, Cody?
The next year, Magic didn't want to be there. That's what happened.
What happened the next year, Cody?
Magic beat themselves the next year.
Okay, no, they got whooped.
The same people. Right, okay.
Tony, the question was to you. Break down Mike's career in the 90s and see how that stacks up against LeBron's.
I've been a part of this conversation a bunch of different times. So here's how I kind of rationalize the two. One, I think some people confuse greatest career versus who's the best basketball player. And I think those are two different conversations that you can have. Because I think LeBron maybe have the greatest career, but in a straight up one-on-one, who has mastered the game, some people may take MJ, and I can't argue that down. in terms of mastering everything that goes into winning a basketball game. Another thing that when you look at Mike's career, and here's why I give the edge to Jordan, and I'm a LeBron fan though. Here's how I give the edge to Jordan. Michael stopped a lot of people from winning championships. And in LeBron's reign and LeBron's run, there was quite a few people that have won championships. And I would say, the level of play around the league may be, a bit higher. The math is different. People are taking more threes, taking advantage of that in LeBron's era. But the way Jordan denied so many people rings, I think that has to be taken, into account. Albeit those Warriors team is, if not the greatest, one of the top 3 greatest teams of all time, simply unprecedented. But what's the name of this podcast?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean that. Look, that's what it was. That's what you have to go through in order to get that, that title. If you want to be known as the GOAT. And I was a firm believer for a long time that, LeBron was the great. He's certainly the greatest basketball player I've ever seen personally. But again, the denial of rings for a lot of people that were very good basketball players. You're talking Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, first ballot greatest 50 players of all time players cannot get a ring because Michael Jordan was also in his prime while they were in their prime.
I hear you. I think MJ's overall lock on the NBA community was a bit tighter. I agree with that. I also don't think that the ones that he kept from winning can really place themselves in the same conversation as a Steph Curry. I'm sorry. I don't see a Steph Curry equivalent in the 90s. I don't see a 45-foot range. I don't see Cody,
okay, I get what you're talking about, and I see what point. This is the problem this is the biggest problem when it comes to comparing different NBA eras, because the game is so different. But you have to, like, you're telling me if Reggie Miller wasn't a part of today's game, he wouldn't be playing the same style. I mean, he was born in the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's a tough argument. But here, I actually want to propose a question to you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
What is it about LeBron fans that makes them so upset about him being number 2 of all time? Like Stephen A. said, I think it was yesterday or today. He said, "Why is that such an insult? Why is number 2 out of all the players ever to come to the NBA? Why is that such an insult? Why is that such a hard pill to swallow?" For example, I'm a Kobe fan, right? You know that. I'll take Kobe, God soul, over anybody. But I know Kobe's not a top. I know he's not a top 3 player out of everybody. Kobe's probably realistically in most people's books is a top 10 player of all time.
Right.
I'm okay with that though. He's still my guy though. But it's like for LeBron fans, they just won't let it go, and I just don't understand that. So my question is to you: what is it? What is the insult about number 2 of all time?
The insult is when you are a king, you shouldn't have to live and be evaluated amongst mere mortals, right? It's not that we're so anti number 2. I love Kobe Bryant. I liked him a lot, Gareth. I think the challenge for us, right, us LeBroners, is that when you see perfection embodied, you see somebody 6'9", 275 pounds, negative 3% body fat, 50-inch vertical, you see basically what you would create a player with. And, you just wonder, why do people hate on this man so much? I see him coming into the league at 18, surpassing expectations. I see a man who off the court is, basically flawless. I see somebody severely invested in the community. I see.
Okay. Real quick. I think this is the thing. No one honestly to me, no one was really legit hating on LeBron. I think the problem was initially is that they gave him his crown without him winning anything yet. I think that was the problem. I think they crowned LeBron too early, and by doing that, I think it put this extra expectation on him. And then when he didn't succeed the way people thought it would go, I think that's where the big disconnect was. Like, okay, we knew he was, one of the top guys in the league, from, let's say, his first year, and beyond. But I think because they gave him that crown and it was so much expectation immediately, when he didn't meet that expectation in the time frame that people anticipated, I think that's where people were like, okay, I'm tired of all this hype. I'm tired of this guy doing that. And then when he lost against Dallas,
okay,
it was really like the asterisk mark on who he really is. I think that's what happened.
Look, his loss against Dallas is an asterisk. I do think they gave it to him too quickly. I say from 2011 up, he was the GOAT. Anything before then, I think it was Kobe's era. I don't think Kobe Bryant has been given his official respect as a basketball.
Well, he never will.
Yeah, and I probably think it's because when people see Kobe, they automatically associate him with Shaq, right? So it's like, no, Shaq, so his legacy, unfortunately, is impacted by the greatness of Shaq, and that's unfair.
I think, Cody, I think too that number one, and I'm gonna speak for a lot of people. We have a problem with LeBron. It's because LeBron fans, it's so many of them that we feel like don't know the game, ain't never played the game. So we look at y'all as being extra soft. It's because the era that we playing right now is so soft. Even if you play pickup ball over the last 10 years,
it's changed.
Soft. So what we're saying is Steph Curry is the greatest shooter I ever seen.
Right.
But if you would have tried to run through them screens in the 90s, they would have ran right through him and put him in the stands a couple of times just to put something on his mind. And Cody,
what is that basketball though?
That's not basketball. Right.
It was back then.
It was basketball for us. Y'all can say it's not basketball, but we watched this, and it was. When we played basketball, it was much a physical game. So for y'all to talk to us because it's a different era and because y'all younger than us, we would have put y'all on y'all tail. And I know y'all saying it's not basketball, but for us, it was. You just put on the paint, Tony. It was. You meant that.
Yeah, I don't think everybody of the older era agrees with that, because look how people view those Detroit Pistons championships. Yeah, they won a championship, but nobody respects the way they won that championship.
Who does?
Because
Tony, because you live in Chicago.
No. I don't have a connection to that era whatsoever.
Who didn't respect the bad boy? We didn't like them. We didn't say we didn't respect them.
But you know how they were back-to-back champion and should be respected as such. But if you ask around the league and fans around the league, everybody universally did not like that team because they were not playing basketball. Michael Jordan and the greatest of all time, we're talking about the GOAT talk, that was Michael Jordan's issue. They weren't. He was a better basketball player than any one of those Detroit Pistons, and they weren't playing basketball.
Right.
So,
Tony, can I say this? I think our eras is different. It's because your era, everybody who plays gets a trophy. My era, the only person who gets a trophy was the winners. So that's that's a difference in it. We didn't get participation trophies when I was growing up. And I'm just saying, if that's the way they figured out how to win, we got to respect them, because Jordan had to beef up and he had to get mentally tougher to get past the Pistons. I'm just saying, if that's the way they found how to win 2 championships, much respect. We can't beat it, then they good.
You know what, too, Naaman? I think honestly, if we could rewind the clock and talk to people who lived in Cleveland, or talk to people that, people outside Chicago, and I had to learn this too, like during that era, they didn't like Mike either because Mike was beating them. So it wasn't like you talking about, LeBron get haters, LeBron got haters. Jordan had haters too.
Yeah, not physically though. That was strictly skill based. That was strictly because they could not beat him at the game of basketball specifically. That's different. When you're talking about fighting, that is different. Like, you notice the goons are phased out of the league. You know, that was on purpose. That was with intention to phase that style of play out of the league because 1, it wasn't effective. 2, it's not marketable. And 3, how can you protect your league if you got to worry about if you have to suspend him for fighting, or if he has to go to frequent trips to the hospital for concussions or other things like that, because that's not basketball. Like, if we're just talking about the game of basketball, that, to me, at least to me, I don't think that was marketable. And David Stern made an intention to phase that out of the game, and that's why nobody really likes those Detroit Pistons teams. But
and you're right. Well, but basically, Tony, you proving my point. We're saying that Jordan played in the era where it was a price to pay. So I'm saying that Jordan had to deal with more physically. That's my whole point. As far as it's marketable, you liked it, and was the ratings high? I'm sure you know all that, and I'm sure that you're right. But I'm talking about what y'all saying, what he had to go through, the teams that he had to go through.
Let me add in. My guest is here. He decided, he asked, could he be on just to chime in. I invited the barber known as Sam Patterson. Sam, who is the GOAT? Be honest.
You asked who's the GOAT?
Who's the GOAT?
Michael Jordan, man.
There it is.
Why?
And I'm gonna say, man, we've been having these discussions, and for the last couple of days or whatever, because LeBron just won, and honestly, I feel like it's not even close, as a lot of people say that, or at least think that it is, because of the fact that now LeBron's been there 10 times, but he got 4. MJ's record is unblemished, 6-0.
Sam, who did he beat?
Who did Mike beat?
Who did Mike beat?
Are you always okay?
You got Stockton and Malone.
Stockton and Malone.
That's twice. That's 2 people. So that's
right.
2 people. That's the first. That's 1.
Stockton and Malone.
And the second person is number 2 all time in scoring. So we can't act like they scrubs. All right. I'm not gonna allow y'all to act like them dudes are scrubs.
I'm not saying it's scrubs. All I'm saying is take a deeper look into the analytics. Tell me that beating Tim Duncan and Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili is not harder.
LeBron
lost to him. He lost to him.
He lost once. He beat him once as well.
So, are you proud of that?
I'm very happy. That was a dynastic team right there.
I don't think it's not. Look, man,
yes, Tim Duncan.
Can I bring something up real quick? You keep talking about who he beat. Dude, he lost to Dwight Howard's Magic.
Okay.
He did lose to Dwight.
Jordan lost.
I'm almost sure.
That's the point, Roger.
Okay. For example, remember that year they hyped up the Kobe and LeBron puppets or whatever. He's supposed to meet LeBron there. Yeah, guess who didn't show up?
He was young, guys.
Oh, now he's young.
You say he was young.
People have to develop. Anyway, let's get serious. And Roger, I'll start with you.
He was young.
Let's get serious. Hold on, Sam. Let's get serious for a second. What is next for the NBA as a whole? They just ended a season. It literally from preseason to the championship, it was a full year. They still don't have a start date. I don't think the draft has been officially announced, right? What is next for the NBA? Is it just trying to get back to normal? Are we going back to a bubble situation? What does that look like in 2021, 2022?
So Adam Silver is a pretty progressive. See, I don't, it's hard to say. I know they would love to get back to the old way. I don't see it happening next season. I think maybe what they may try is starting to have a limited amount of fans maybe there just to bring back, some of that feel to it. But I don't see it going back to full capacity. But what I will comment on for the NBA, I feel like this year, even before we got to the bubble and everything, I feel like the players themselves are it looks like the big three is gone for right now, right? We've got dynamic duos, and it looks, the competition was a lot better this year, in my opinion. The games were better, more competitive. Playoff series seem to go one way or another. So I feel like in the fact of how teams are being structured, I feel like we're going back to more competition now. I think the league is a little bit more wide open now. So I think that's a good move, or we're in the right direction as far as that goes. But as far as going back to fans and the stadiums, I don't see that probably happen, I would say, for another 2, maybe even 3 years. But I think they'll gradually try to bring people back, somewhat like the NFL is doing, having a very limited amount of people in the arena. But as far as the game of basketball, as far as the competition goes, I think we'll have to see what Giannis does, but I think we're past the point of the super team, of that one team that's, just clearly dominant over everyone else. At least I hope we're past that point, because I actually really enjoyed the playoffs. I enjoyed the competition this year. So I hope that stays the way it is. A big shout out to Jimmy Butler for, you want to talk about a guy that has heart. The Heat were a perfect example of a group of guys who played together and prove you can go all the way, well, just about all the way, without having that really, really big superstar name. So I love that the Heat got there, and I hope more teams are encouraged by what they were able to do this year.
Awesome. Naaman, what is next for what I would call superstar development? I think Tony hit on it earlier. LeBron is an old man, athletically speaking. Year 17, he has a lot of miles on that body. If he decided to retire today, what do we have to look forward to?
Oh, I think the NBA is in better shape than we can give them credit for. It's because we had a bubble without Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving. So I think that when you look at next year, if Golden State trade that pick and get a decent player, they're going to be back to the team that everyone – I like Golden State, but most LeBron people hate them. So in that, they'll be back being that team. And then you have Kevin Durant and Kyrie, as weird as they are, they both got chips on their shoulders to prove the league that, that they're the best duo in the NBA. Giannis, of course, is trying to figure out where he's going to end up. And I'm very intrigued. For me, I'm intrigued to see where Giannis is going to end up. I don't think he's going to stay in a small market. And if Giannis end up with a Golden State, a Houston, or something like that, it can flip the tables on everybody, in my personal opinion. So I think that we're good. And LeBron going after the GOAT status is definitely he has to get another one. So in that, I think the NBA is in good hands.
Awesome. Tony, does LeBron have to get another one? Can he just retire at 4? My personal, I want to see LeBron play forever, right? But I don't want to watch my superstar get old. I just don't, right? Like, does he have to get 5, 6, 7, right? Can he just get one more at the most and be done with it?
Well, I think he at least needs to get 5 just so his own city doesn't disrespect him in LA. Because the Kobe fans are crazy, man. They a whole nother level. That's a whole different breed of fans right there, man. They love Kobe. And so at least he needs to get 5 just so he can be equal, to Kobe in Kobe's fans' eyes. But yeah, I think, let me go back to something that was mentioned earlier. I think you asked a question about, or Roger asked a question about, what is it about, LeBron fans? And I think LeBron feels it to a small degree too, is, yeah, LeBron was probably, crowned a little bit too early. But fans, they were looking for the next Jordan. Like everybody was. Every team was trying to find their version of him. He was the gold standard, and LeBron seemed like he was going to be that standard. And I think he's lived up to a lot of that. And I think he he feels a little bit of that it didn't seem like the big MJ fans would even open the door for a possibility of a person that could be better than Jordan. And obviously, I mean, as time goes on, you would assume somebody can overtake Jordan in the masses' eyes, where everybody's like, yeah, I think he got one. But it seemed like maybe LeBron came a little bit too early to allow Jordan fans to rationalize that, yeah, maybe he could be that. And to LeBron fans, maybe that's the big issue, the big fight. But I think winning, as long as he keeps, and the crazy thing about it looks like he's not slowing down.
Right.
This could be a thing for at least 5 years, and especially if he moves his game more to a facilitator, where Anthony Davis becomes kind of like the premier scorer, but LeBron is still the initiator of offense, and he's the leader of that group. We're talking about maybe another three-peat possibly, if he can stay healthy. And that we can rehash this conversation, if that happens, because then I don't think it's a question that you have to put him in the Jordan range then. But right now he's not at, and unfortunately for some people, that 6 looms heavy for a lot of fans out there. So if he's not in the range of 5 or 6, I think it's going to be tough to get the masses involved in accept that LeBron may be better or just as good as Jordan.
Awesome. Sam, I'm throwing this to you. I'm switching it up because on It Is What It Is, right now we're kind of freestyling. So, it's a bonus episode. My man, Dak Prescott, had an unfortunate injury. First of all, prayers go to Dak. I wish him a speedy recovery. I did not, want to see him go down. But, Dallas has been exposed, right? And I don't know, nor do I think Andy Dalton is the solution. What do the Cowboys do? There are quarterbacks out there like Colin Kaepernick. They did not sign that 5-year deal. He has a franchise tag. So they have the cap. What should Dallas do?
Honest answer, I think they stayed pat. I think they paid Andy Dalton. I think he's, don't quote me on this, but I think he's the highest paid backup QB in the league. So I'm pretty sure that Dallas, as a team, stays packed, and they just, gonna let Andy Dalton play it out. I personally would love to see someone like Cap get at least a look at. We had that film. What was that? Sometime earlier this year, or maybe it was sometime last year, where he went and worked out, had a couple of teams come and look at him. So that actually would be awesome. It was definitely sad to see that go. I saw as soon as he planted that foot, and it rolled over. I'm like, man, yeah, that's pretty much the season. But Dallas, honestly, they're lucky to be in the division that they're in. They could actually probably still win it with Washington and the Giants, and I want to say the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
And out of all those teams, they still might be the best team in that division. So they can actually still make a playoff run without possibly their best player and their leader and their quarterback in that. But yeah, answer the question, absolutely. I think they keep Andy Dalton. They're going to let him, this will probably be the best team he's ever had, too, as a QB. For him being in his older years, as far as weapons are concerned, he has a lot of guys he has to throw the ball. He has a decent offensive line. You got a stud as a running back. They can actually make a little bit of noise. And the worst thing that probably happened was that Dak got hurt and he didn't get his money.
Right.
That hurt me. Even that was one of the first things I thought about. The first thing I thought about was my fantasy team. I know that's a little selfish because I definitely have Dak as my starter quarterback, and I've been killing them. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. But other than that, I was like, man, they didn't pay my man. I felt like he was going out there. He was going hard, man. He had I want to say it was 3 straight games with over 475 passing yards.
Yeah.
How do you not pay that man? It's guys that's not doing that over. They're not giving 475 yards over 2 games,
Right.
and he had that per game. So yeah, man, Dallas. Like I said, they're pretty much they're going to stay packed for sure. I don't see them signing anyone now. And don't get hurt, then you know that it's all she wrote after that. You got to do something.
That's
But
true.
it's some other guy. Look, it's some jobs available.
Right.
I know you didn't mention the Bears.
I'm about to.
But
The Bears questions coming up to my man Naaman. Naaman,
There we
is
go.
Nick Foles the answer going forward, or should we just hope for the best?
No, he's not. No, not at all. Matter of fact, his arm is worse than Tom Brady's. I looked at the other day. That's what I saw. Maybe Tony can help me with that. But some of those look like some of them lollipops he threw up there was looking terrible to me. I know he's a great guy. I can tell that the locker room likes him. I will give him that. But passing up on Cam Newton, I think that's just something that, you know, I know we was all in the back of our head, just like even though Cam was supposed to be hurt at the time, I'm like, and then the amount of money that Nick is making, you know, so that's kind of like, but I do want to say something about Dak, and I gotta be done. I am upset that he didn't hold out. If Ezekiel he can hold out and go to Tijuana and get high and whatever and still get his money, and you got, you know, Dak being the choir boy and the team player, I have a problem with that, you know. And I know I think they had a 5-year deal on the table and he wanted 4. I'm just saying, hold out and then get that. Hold out and then get that, because I think that a lot of especially African Americans have learned in this with him that you just hold out for a little while. You got an agent that's supposed to hold you down anyway in them times. Hold out and actually get your money. That broke my heart, man. That broke my heart.
Awesome. Roger, are we witnessing the best from Russell Wilson? Is he this year's MVP, or have we just overlooked how great this quarterback is?
So I love what Wilson is doing. However, if I had to choose an MVP right now, my personal MVP would be Aaron Rodgers. Don't hate me. I know it's a piece of Packer, but as Stephen A. says, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. So what Wilson is doing is great. Russell is as great as he is even right now in this season that he's having this right now. I still think he's underrated. This is definitely the best we've seen him. As I said, Russell Wilson has been unleashed. What he can do inside the pocket, outside the pocket. I mean, his accuracy, his intelligence, just knowing, you know, where to look. Russell, I love what Russell Wilson is doing. Honestly, like, I'm not a big Seahawks fan, but because of him, I'm rooting for the Seahawks. I would love to see Russell Wilson get an MVP. He's never had an MVP consideration, which is kind of crazy, but now what Wilson is doing is unbelievable. I mean, looking at his size, like everything, he reminds me of a mobile Drew Brees. I mean, that's what he is. He's a small guy. He's smart, great accuracy, big arm. But like I said, if I had to pick an MVP right now, I would go with Aaron. Bad man, Aaron Rodgers.
I like Aaron. I'm not a Packers guy, but I do like Aaron Rodgers. I've seen this man, beat the Bears with one leg.
Oh,
so,
of course not. Of course not.
That was the most present thing. Anyway, Tony, question to you. Sox had a disappointing postseason in the playoffs. They were supposed to go further, in my opinion. It seems like Chicago baseball has taken a shift back about 10 years. I think they have a young team, but then they have a developing team. But it's like we just can't make that next level, right? Why not? Why can't we get a big hitter like an Aaron Judge, or, you know, why can't we get the Andrew McCutchens of the world and these just superstar talents? What is wrong with our baseball in Chicago?
Nothing. And I think Rick Hahn agrees with you that it's time that the White Sox take a step forward. But Wide Scope, you mentioned Chicago baseball in general. Cubs won a World Series only, a couple years ago. I think they were riding high a little bit, but management mismanaged. Theo Epstein and Jed Hoyer, their predictions for certain players didn't go as planned. And the players that they chose to trade or to let go end up working out in other places, but the players that they decided to keep didn't really produce as much. I'm talking about, Albert Almora. He didn't. I mean, they had to relegate him to the minors after a while. Chris Bryant, and I love Chris Bryant. He's a great player, but he's been hurt. He's been hurt since they won the championship. They've been having pitching issues. So it seems like everything that could have gone wrong after they won the championship did go wrong after they won the championship. Kyle Schwarber hasn't turned into what they thought was going to be Babe Ruth. That's why they didn't trade him to the Yankees. They gave up Gleyber Torres for Aroldis Chapman. And now the Yankees have Aroldis Chapman, and Gleyber Torres is a beast. So they got to answer a lot up there. The answer for a lot up there on the north side, and on the south side, there should be a lot of optimism if you're a Sox fan. You said why can't they have these big hitters and Aaron Judge? They do. They got Yohan Moncada. They got probably who I think should win the AL MVP, Jose Abreu. They got Tim Anderson. They got some stars on the south side, and they recently fired their manager, Ricky Renteria, and got rid of their pitching coach, Don Cooper. All that was because Rick Hahn feels like this team is championship ready right now. And he's got all those guys. I mean, Eloy Mendez, all those guys are locked up for the next 5 to 6 years of their primes. So he has a window now to win, and he can't just wait around for Ricky Renteria to get it right because he's never been there before. When it comes to taking advantage of a window, now's the time to win. So the trajectories for both teams are kind of doing this, where the Cubs are, on their way down a bit, and they're about to start their rebuild. But the White Sox, they're about to shoot up, depending on how they prep this team going forward for the next few years. So if you're not on the White Sox bandwagon, I think you should join right about now, because one, they got some fun and entertaining players that I think people in the world of baseball will really enjoy. And they're about to do a lot of winning. And I think it's going to be fun next season.
Awesome. All right. Last question, 1 minute. Curveball question. You guys can see this coming. But since we're talking about the GOAT talk, let's take it to boxing. In my opinion, and I'll just say here, Floyd Mayweather is the GOAT when it comes to boxing. I used to think it was Ali. I love Ali. But after really watching Floyd and listening to him, when it comes to in the ring, I'm not talking about out the ring, cultural effect. I'm talking about in the ring. Floyd gets it done. 50-0. The man is flawless. Tony, who's the GOAT in boxing?
I don't have a lot of history on boxing, but I know a lot of names. I enjoy boxing. I like watching it. But for me, I think pound for pound, man, Floyd, man, that dude, technically wise, he does benefit from an era where the athletes are not participating in boxing, they're playing, the people in his, weight class, they're out there being cornerbacks or safeties or point guards in the NBA right now. That's what the popular sports are, where in Ali's time, or for a long stretch, a lot of our better athletes, our LeBron James type athletes, were going to boxing in that era. But I think I'm going to lean Floyd just because, one, I've seen it, all of them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he just dominated the era. I mentioned Jordan prevented a lot of people from winning. Nobody has beaten Floyd ever. And has become, there were a couple that were, some realistic challengers, but overall, I mean, his dominance over the boxing world is something that, we rarely get to see. So I'm glad I got to see it. So I'm going to lean Floyd.
Awesome. Sam, GOAT in the ring. I'm going with Floyd. Who you taking?
I can't disagree at all. I'm not even going to attempt to try to name any boxers, anything like that. My history is very slim, but we all, at least in our age group, everyone looks to be around the same age. We've all at least got to see Floyd pretty much just dominate that sport. There's really no, I don't want to say it's no discussion, but if we're going to talk championships and golden unblemished records, and he has one, how can I say Jordan's the GOAT because he won 6-0? And then say Floyd's not because of the competition or because of the style or anything like that when he has not been beaten. I'm the champ until you beat me, right? No one's beating him. You know, my only other take would be, my personal would be like I would like to say like Tyson. You know, I used to watch Tyson films. Like I still from time to time go on YouTube and watch Mike Tyson just because he's just knocking people out, and you're just amazed like, Jesus, this dude is shooting. Even at his age now, talking about coming back, I saw some of the things he said, and I was like, Lord, at his age now, I still wouldn't want to fight Tyson.
Right.
But other than that, I'm gonna pick Floyd.
Awesome. Naaman, I know you saw it live, Floyd Patterson versus Sonny Liston in 58. So I want to ask you this. Who is the GOAT in the ring?
Listen here, Jay Williams. I hate how you always change the narrative, man. When it comes down to LeBron and Jordan, you say Jordan ain't beat nobody.
Right.
But you pick Floyd Mayweather.
He beat everybody.
Who are they?
He beat Sugar Shane.
Come on.
He beat Arturo Gotti.
Come on. Arturo Gotti is terrible.
He beat Pacquiao.
At 70 years old.
He beat Tony James.
Okay, see, Tony, I'm done now. Just because he said that name. What I'm saying is Muhammad Ali, everything he had to go through as a man at that time, and we talking about eras, y'all, for real. What the man had to go through and what he gave up in his career, there's nobody greater. There's nobody greater. And Cody, you can't change the narrative of who somebody beat in one sport, and then we come to boxing, it don't matter no more.
I mean, it matters, but like I just think that point is irrelevant. Here's why I think that point is irrelevant.
Please tell me.
I think, Ali is fantastic. I think his narrative is better. But when I look at in the ring, like, I just think, my fight, I think Ali against all three Frazier fights and the Foreman fight, those to me are his four main fights, right? I think you could come up with 4 fights out of Floyd's entire career. They might not be the Frazier 3, especially Thriller Manila, but I think Floyd is a better boxer at the end of the day.
He fought Conor McGregor, y'all. Conor McGregor. Y'all cool with that? Conor McGregor. You don't even mention his name, do you?
He can fight. He's a UFC fighter.
Y'all. And don't get me wrong, Floyd top 5 to me, y'all. But when you talking about who he beat, come on, Cole, you can't change the narrative.
Ali didn't fight Foreman that second time. There's a reason for that. I'll just say that.
Okay.
All right. Roger, who's the GOAT in the ring?
So I can't give you a GOAT, but I'm going to tell you who the most underrated, most disrespected fighter is of all time, in my opinion. And it's a man you just named, George Foreman.
Yeah.
I can't give you. I would have to really do it, and I really think about as far as who I would pick as a GOAT. But I think one of the most underrated boxers of all time is George Foreman. I think he's 76-5, something like that, something crazy like that. And if it wasn't for Muhammad Ali's brilliance in the ring, he would have beat Ali. So to me, the most underrated, I always, when it comes to boxing, I always bring up Foreman because I feel like he never gets the respect that he should. I mean, the way he knocked around Freight, like, come on, man. I think George Foreman is one of the best boxers of all time. But as far as a GOAT, I really have to do some digging on that one and really do some analyzing. Because as Naaman said, some of the fights that Floyd has had, I hate to say questionable, but as far as biggest fights and what he's gone through and the whole narrative around it, I would have to look into it. So that's a tough one. Of course, like Sam said, everybody loves Tyson. I still love Tyson. I get hyped watching Tyson practice now. By the way, I heard the Roy Jones Jr. fight was pushed back because he's not ready. So I don't think that's gonna happen, honestly. If you sent me a video and I saw what Mike was doing, like, no, I'm good.
Right. I like Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson he's that guy.
And the crazy part is, like, if you listen to that podcast he had, I think it was with who was it? Sugar Ray Leonard, I think he talked to, I believe.
You talking about Hotbox?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm seeing small clips of it, but like fighting, it's who Mike Tyson is. You know what I mean? And that's what makes him such a scary opponent. He actually, when he was describing it, he began to cry because it makes him that emotional. So, which is scary. But yeah, for a GOAT, I'd have to do some digging on that one. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure who I pick. But like I said, most underrated fighter to me and most fighter that's overlooked very often when it comes down to talking about the best boxers of all time, and even throw in somebody's record. I think George Foreman is extremely underrated. He whooped the like cats, and people didn't want to fight George. So
I just gotta mention, like, I don't like the disrespect of his his opponents, Floyd. I had to be reminded. I just looked it up. Nation has a list ranking all of his 50 wins. He fought everybody. Like, he didn't miss. Like, he fought everybody. Now, you can question the overall boxing talent. Like, I said before that, a lot of our main athletes have played more popular sports as time goes by, but he fought everybody. And there's some names on this list that, aren't nothing to sneeze at. He fought Manny Pacquiao. He fought Zab Judah.
Yeah.
He fought Luis.
He did fight De La Hoya.
He fought De La Hoya. He fought Canelo Alvarez. He fought Maidana. He fought Miguel Cotto. Like, he fought everybody he was supposed to fight and beat him. So, and it wasn't, with split decisions. Like, he was beating these dudes. So, yeah, I don't want to disrespect Floyd's opponents. He fought everybody he was supposed to fight. It's just, if you want to question anything, you can question the overall boxing landscape because of the lack of athletes in it.
And that's definitely what I'm doing. And I'm a Floyd fan. But my problem is with our host is when he's always changing the narrative of competition, and I will not allow him to get away with that. I'm not going.
It is what it is. You can change the narrative. I want to thank all my guests. It has been an amazing time. Look, next week's episode, I have the evangelist Chris Ann Fears. We're going to be displaying some of her latest projects. I'm super excited about that episode. Then I got the rapper known as Schaefer Jones out of Chicago. He's on Tuesday. It's going down. I got some great episodes in the pipeline, some stuff that I really think will tickle your fancy. So I'm looking forward to this. Hey, Naaman, where can they connect with you? What are you doing?
Oh man, you know me. You can look at me at my Facebook page at Naaman Williams, or you can look me up at NaamanWilliams.com and Brother Life. That's where I'm at.
Awesome. Naaman said he's gonna invite me over there to preach one of these days. Raj, where can they connect with you?
Don't connect with me if you don't like cars, because that's all I talk about and all I share on my Facebook page.
That's true.
Or Instagram. My Instagram is RogerThat0121.
That's true. He loves all foreign imports, Lambos, Ferraris.
That's the wrong narrative.
Tony, where can they connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at @VTonyGill and on Instagram at @VTonyGill. Talk sports, talk about life, all that stuff. Just connect with me there.
Awesome. And Sam, the man, we still got to get that unit, man. I'm ready for you, Doc.
Oh, wow.
Where can they connect with you, my man?
Oh, man. So Facebook at Sam Patterson. Also Instagram and Twitter at SJP1988. And what's name going to the shop? I'm right on 82nd and King Drive. And I come fade y'all love real quick.
Awesome.
I'm almost ready for you, Cody, when you're ready for it.
Hey, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready. I'm about to change it up. I'm about to get rid of this bald head. Y'all gonna see me, boy. It's gonna be different. So I'm looking forward to it. I appreciate all my guests. Till next time, guys. Thanks.